Joseph was a righteous man. Growing up and hearing about Joseph, the one word that I heard so repeatedly to describe the character of Joseph was that he was a righteous man or a just man. By describing Joseph as a righteous man, Matthew recognizes him to be one who was faithful to the Mosaic law, faithful to observing the law. And as a person who was faithful to the law, Joseph was permitted to expose Mary for what appeared to be her adulterous activity. As described in Deuteronomy 22, the penalty for adultery was death by stoning. As a man who was faithful to the law, Joseph knew he must act according to the law. However, he was also a man of compassion, a man filled with love and mercy for Mary. Therefore, though he had every reason to bring shame and disgrace to Mary and to her family, he chooses the quieter and more private option of separating from her in secret. This incident from the life of Joseph is a good example of the paradoxical nature of our faith. We are people of the law, called to obey the commandments of God. But we are also people of compassion, called to act with love and mercy. Sisters and brothers, in our journey of life, we all face questions related to morality and justice. There is no shortage of these in our society that is becoming more and more secular. How do we deal with them? If Matthew were to describe us as righteous persons, what would that mean? Would that mean that when we learn of a morally questionable action by someone, we attack, condemn, and demean them privately or publicly? Or would it mean dealing with them with compassion, mercy, and love, preserving the dignity of every human being regardless of their failures and shortcomings? Remember, Joseph had every reason to condemn and bring shame on Mary, but he chose the higher path, the path of compassion and mercy. In John's Gospel, we read about the woman caught in the very act of adultery. She was guilty. The crowd wanted Jesus to enforce the law of punishment, but Jesus said to the crowd, "Let the one among you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone." And he said to the woman, "Neither do I condemn you. Go, and from now on, do not sin anymore." There are many such instances in the gospel of Jesus' compassion and mercy for sinners. I believe that Jesus' earthly father, Joseph, had at least some influence on him and on his compassionate and merciful response to people. Let us reflect today. How do we respond when we encounter what we consider to be morally questionable actions by people? Do our responses model Jesus and Joseph, the righteous man? Join me tomorrow as we reflect on Joseph's plan. God bless you and your families.